TikTok, time to rock. Good
Hey, before
evening.
we go live,
Hey, what the heck? Every time, man. Every time. What? Oh, boy. What is this? What is this? Pure sabotage. Turks ruin everything. Just remember that, ladies and gentlemen. Turks ruin everything. So,
Turks
how's
ruin
it
everything around me? Yeah.
Turks rule everything around me? Treem.
Yeah.
Treem.
Anyway,
What's up?
what's up, man? How's everybody doing?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Hey, we're here to talk about
I
this.
hear Apostate Prophet's about to be baptized.
Hey, that was a secret,
yeah,
man.
indeed.
That was a secret, man.
Yeah.
He's trying to keep stuff
Yeah,
It
a
was
secret.
a secret, but it's not anymore.
Oh yeah,
Well,
why
I
did
mean,
you
he
tell
kind
me
of put
that?
it on Twitter, so.
So, yeah, we've
Oh,
got AP is about to be baptized. In theory, I'll be there recording it, unless some bunch of Orthodox people beat me up and say, "Oh, get out of here! You're not even a cat human."
Well, the thing is, I actually asked my priest about this. I asked him if it's okay for you to come there. He said, just make sure to tell him in advance to keep a low profile and not to tell people that he's or Protestant. So, under those circumstances, I think we can get it done.
Yeah, I'll go in there in some monk's robe or whatever you guys wear to your services and so on, and then I'll just walk in there going, and then you guys will think I'm one of you. They'll start chanting. They'll go, one of us, gooba gobble, gooba
Yeah,
gobble.
the Latin will really convince.
Yeah.
I don't know why you're going into Latin in an Orthodox church, but yeah.
Fine, I'll do it. Wait, is this Greek or Russian? Do I need to know Greek or Russian?
It's Greek.
Oh, okay, because if it was Russian, I wasn't even going to say anything. I was just going to bring a big bottle of vodka and be like, well, I got this from Boris, eh? And they'll all go, hey! But Greek.
If it's a Russian church, as soon as you walk in with a bottle of vodka, they're like, "Oh, okay, this is one of us." They don't even ask you for
one of us.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if it's Greek, that's good. I walk in there with a big bottle of ouzo instead of vodka. Greeks like ouzo.
Yep.
Is that another thing that the Turks stole from the Greeks and probably gave it a different name and pretended it's theirs?
Yes.
Shocker, everyone. Shocker. So anyway, yes, but we'll be recording AP's baptism for everyone who can't be there, which is pretty much all of you. So we'll be checking that out. We'll post that online. Hey, you know what'd be funny? Because you've been wearing all these wigs. It'd be funny if you, I don't even know how the baptisms work. Do you guys sprinkle or do you guys like?
No, it's full immersion.
Is
3
it?
times full immersion, yeah.
Yeah, so
Hey,
they have to bring in like a kiddie pool for him if they don't have one, because a lot of times they don't have one that's adult sized. If it has like pictures on the side, you've got to take a picture.
Yeah, it doesn't have a so it's going to be a small one. It's going to be a little one because the church doesn't really have a big space. They want to renovate and want to install a bigger baptism thingy, but right now they don't have one, so it's going to be a little one that I'm going to be immersed in thrice. And yeah.
Okay, well, I already like you guys. I was assuming it was going to be some we spray a couple drops of water on you and that's baptism and stuff, and I was going to be enraged, but I already like you guys better now if you're doing full immersion, and it's even cooler if it's triple. That's like making sure.
It is.
Like that's like, oh, there's no doubts here.
No, with the Orthodox Church, there has been historically, without exception, full immersion, and they make sure that you drown, so they make you 3 times.
That would be funny if you like held someone under until they drown, but you have paramedics there to revive the person right afterwards, and it's like even more symbolic of rising from death to life. You know what I mean? It'd be awesome.
There was a
If that
Lutheran
was the
pastor
traditional
who talked about.
What?
Yeah, there was a Lutheran pastor who talked about the conflict during the 30 Years' War as sometimes we would baptize our Calvinist brothers until the bubbles stopped coming up, is what he said.
Nice. No, it's weird because
and we shouldn't have done that. We should not have done that.
no, it's funny because I've mentioned before I baptized Nabil. Like our pastor said, I could do it as long as he's there. And so I baptized Nabil, but I was like, I wanted to make sure like there was not one little like even toe sticking up above the water. So I'm like, I push him all the way down to the bottom, but I'm like looking around. Is there any? There's not a knee popping up or something, is there? Anyway, so that's good. But that makes sense. 3 times. You make 3. If you go 3 times, that's like, triple is likely to be actually fully immersed. Yeah. So anyway, guys, and let's see, we got this. You guys should react to Chunk Yogurt on Pierce, 2-tier Pierce with Jonathan. Then I just came up with 2-tiers Pierce. How about that? 2-tiers Pierce with Jonathan. The new is that Jonathan Conricus? That
is it? I don't even know.
That guy? I don't know which Jonathan it is. Let's look it up real quick. Because guys, I'm about to be at AP's and we can actually be just chilling in his spot.
Oh, it is. It is with Jonathan Conricus. And with Ehud Olmert. What the heck?
What is this? What
What in the heck? Oh, no, he talked to him first, and then he had these 2 guys on. Okay, good.
Let's see. Whoa! He's got Dave Smith on there for a different thing.
Yeah, he had Dave Smith and Natasha Hausdorff one. I'm really curious about that one because Natasha is awesome, and apparently people are very angry about this. Apparently, he fought with her live and wouldn't let her answer the questions, and then she posted about it and said, Piers Morgan asked me questions but didn't want to hear the answer. And then he responded to her with a tweet like, because they wouldn't come out of your disingenuous mouth or something like that. It's like, what?
So who's this Ehud Olmert guy?
He's a former Israeli prime minister. President? Prime minister?
Oh.
Something. Former prime minister of Israel, yeah.
Wait, is he the one who's the quote should be in The Hague?
I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, I would guess that sounds like something Cenk would say. Chunk Yogurt. It sounds like something a Turk would say. Yeah. Remember, I just said Turks ruin everything, and here we are talking about Chunk Yogurt.
Turks ruin everything around me. Yeah.
Chunk Yogurt. Hey. So that's what's going on, guys. I'll be at AP's starting tomorrow, and we will be live streaming from AP's and cranking out some videos. Got some dope ones. We are officially going to pull up to a McDonald's where I'm going to try and order a McMutta marriage. Going to order a McMutta marriage with extra mutta. Going to order a Happy Meal for my child bride and a McMutta marriage, and I'm going to demand a shake. They're going to think I want a chocolate shake or something like that. But no, I'm demanding a shake to perform the McMutta marriage. Anyway, we're going to see how that goes. We're going to see if they're like, man, get out of here, man. We're not interested in your pranks or something like that. Or if they're going to go along with it and be confused. Anyway, we're going to find that out tomorrow. What else? I guess that's it. So I'll be at AP's. We'll be live streaming from AP's, making some videos at AP's. That brings us to the Epic City.
Hey, well, before that, yesterday we kind of tricked Jay Dyer into having a good conversation with us. Now we can talk trash about him.
He was humiliated.
What? Just kidding. Yeah.
That was funny. I wasn't joking when I said I showed up ready for war. I was just waiting. People noticed I sat there for like 20 minutes just grinning. It was because I'm waiting where I'm going to jump in with my I apologize for nothing. I regret nothing. And you guys are like a pot of poison, gourd stew. I like that. I was grinning just thinking about saying it, and then I just started talking with you guys instead.
It turn out so well. It was awesome, man.
Well, yeah, but I said you got to give the people what they want, and like here's the thing. Different people wanted different things. Half the people wanted, let's see some reconciliation. We want these guys getting along, and other people wanted drama. I'm saying we could have had both. And so everyone could have gotten what they wanted. You guys could have like reconciled for 20 minutes, and then I could have come in with the drama. I just ruined it. I was like, at the end I was thinking, when I was about to jump in, I was like, I would totally jump in right now if it were mine, but it is AP's. He's calling the shots on this one. Anyway. Yeah, see what happens when Jay Dyer shows up on my channel. It will be It will be traumatizing. It was cool. A ton of people. What was it, like 3,500 people?
Yeah. Lots of people came in. And
Wow.
most people, I think, came in, they were expecting a fight or something, but it turned out not to be a fight, which was very cool.
Oh, yeah, that's very cool. It's like you show up to the Tyson Holyfield match, and then they're just like, hey, no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for saying that. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, too. No, I'm more sorry than you, but I'm the sorriest. Let's hug. And there would be people who were like, oh, that's sweet. They're not fighting, but, like, come on. People wanted to fight. Anyway, you guys heard of this Epic City?
Yeah.
Indeed, I have.
Hey, for everyone who's watching, we heard about Epic City a long time ago. We got a bunch of requests, but we realized we would have to like look into it, and we kept not doing that. We don't want to talk about it without looking into it because you don't want to talk about something like that and not know what you're talking about. But we kept not doing that because it's kind of overall interesting, but we just kept putting it off anyway. And then we heard all sorts of things about the governor jumping in there and stuff like this. So it looked like it was dying out and so on. Anyway, fortunately, we've got Thaddeus and Mary who did look into this, did all the research. Thaddeus just posted a video about it. And so perfect opportunity to actually go through this and get everyone updated. Because I seriously don't know what's going on at this point. So these guys have looked into everything. So we're gonna watch Thaddeus's video, then discuss it, get everyone up to date. We got a ton of requests. We got a ton of requests to cover Epic City. So just before we even jump into that, guys, break down what Epic City. So Epic, I thought he was. When I saw Yasser Qadi talking about Epic City, I'm like, seriously. Seriously, you're just going to name your city. Oh, and we're going to have Epic City. We're going to have Awesome City. And then we're going to have totally based Chad City.
Not cringe city.
Yeah. And then someone pointed out it's like East something Islamic Center or something.
East Plano Islamic Center, yes. Which is the name of the existing mosque. So there's a mosque already that's Epic Mosque. And then they wanted that mosque, which is quite large. It has like 10,000 congregants. They wanted to expand. So instead of like building a second building or something, they're like, you know what we should do? We should build a whole city. So that's what Epic City came out of that.
And they like calling their places Islamic centers instead of mosques because Islamic center sounds less scary. And Plano is like this tiny town to the north of Dallas that has incredibly good schools and is inhabited by, on average, quite wealthy people. Although not everybody there's rich, but a number of people there are quite wealthy. And it's where the Asian invasion is there. It's the Chinese heavy area. So the schools are all insane and cutthroat.
That's pretty racist.
Yeah. I'm gonna tell the truth, ladies and gentlemen. I actually can't criticize them for calling their mosque epic. I mean, epic this and epic that, and then Epic City. You can't fault them for the name. You can't fault them for the name. They pulled it off. East Plano Islamic Center, Epic City, and so. Are they just keeping the name, but was the plan to build a city somewhere else and just keep the name, or are they like, here's the mosque, let's build a mosque. I mean, let's build a city around the mosque.
Yeah, so they want to build a second one, right? So they want to keep the existing Epic. They call it Epic 1.0 internally, and then Epic 2.0 is the new project, which is near Josephine, Texas, which is even further rural. They're both kind of like somewhat suburbs of Dallas. Like Plano's a legitimate suburb of Dallas. But then it's like 20 miles further out than Plano. So what you might call an exurb, really tiny town, but growing very fast already, even before this project was proposed, because it's kind of like on the verge of being able to commute to Dallas to work in Dallas. It's like a 40, 50-minute drive from Dallas. So some people, they're willing to drive that far, and they want that kind of semi-country lifestyle. So it's growing very fast, and it's about 20 minutes from the existing mosque.
And they want to continue to call it East Plano, but so they can call it Epic rather than Josephine, the Gyp Center. Either be the Epic Center, the Epic City, or Gyp City. It really will be Gyp City.
Okay, so what we're saying is that it makes no sense so they're in a different spot. It makes no sense to call it Epic, but if they renamed it to something else, it would sound kind of weak and effeminate.
Mm-hmm.
Well, got that? Okay. All right. Here we have good going for Greg Abbott, stopping such insanity. Yeah, that's what I heard. And again, we're about to watch, so whatever you cover in your video, Thaddeus, we're about to watch it. But so, yeah, I've heard that. But I'm thinking, like, if the governor stopped it for some reason and there was some justification for stopping it, you can't do this, or that. Wouldn't you just, like, fix that and eventually do it anyway?
Yeah.
In other words, is Epic City over because the governor stepped in, or are they just going to fix whatever problems there were and then
in principle, they can fix whatever problems. And it's kind of deceptive to say he stopped it because they actually never actually started it. So they were, they had all this promotional material and fanfare, and we'll cover this in the video. But basically, I think they didn't actually raise enough money, so they couldn't do anything. They couldn't move forward. And then they tried to expand the project, and that's when it became known to social media through Yasser Qadi. That's when the governor eventually got involved. Now, most of the public talk has been about, Sharia law and Muslim-only city and all that. But the financial aspect of it hasn't really been covered, and it appears to me that it probably didn't start out as a fraud, but I think it turned into one.
So, but the interesting thing to me is that we've just been saying it for years, right? For a long time, that Islam goes into an area and, hey, peace and tolerance, peace and tolerance, peace and tolerance. And you're looking for ways to get different levels of Sharia compliance to slowly build over. And one of the ways is to just keep moving into an area until you take over the area, like in Dearborn and so on. And then even though officially you are under Michigan law, you've still got a police force that's on your side. And so they would arrest Christians for things like disturbing the peace or something like that when you're just there preaching. They say, oh, yeah, there could be a riot. There could be a riot for what you're doing since you're preaching here on a public sidewalk or something like this, and they would show up and arrest you and stuff. So anyway, that's one way of doing it. You just keep moving into an area and multiplying until you're a majority in that area. So Dearborn, I think, is like between 30 and 40% Muslim or something like that. It was several years ago when I checked. Somewhere in there. But that's like the entire city. If you go to East Dearborn or South Dearborn, you'd think you were in Saudi Arabia. You've got signs in Arabic and everything else. You got the call to prayer blasting, the entire sermon from the mosque blasting over the area and so on. Whereas if you go to other areas, it's totally different. But anyway, so one way is to do that. Another way would just be to build your own Islamic city. Build your own Islamic city. And looks like that was the intention. And if they're trying, that means they think they've reached a point where they can actually try and start building some Islamic towns in the United States. If they got shut down, guess what? They will regroup and try again. Yeah, Thaddeus, you were pointing out that we got this from Yasser Qadi. I hadn't heard one word about it until I saw a video of Yasser Qadi circulating, going, and we're going to have Epic City. I'm thinking, seriously? Yasser Qadi is building Epic City?
Yeah. He opened his big mouth again, right? Got the thing in trouble. It had gone below the radar, right? It had been going on for a year. They'd been moving forward for about a year. And then he opens his big mouth and draws all this attention to it. Just like the holes in the narrative. He just can't keep his mouth shut.
I'm glad he does.
I think they brought him in specifically to pump it because they needed the cash flow from Epic Ranches. They'd already tapped out a lot of their local congregation. So they needed a big face, a big name to come in and like give this, it's Yasser Qadi and all of this, and give it more umph and more support and more fame to try to get more money for it.
That worked out very well.
Yeah. I mean, he should have just rolled with it because his reputation's a little different after the holes in the narrative interview. He should just lean into that and be like, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard the holes in the narrative. Well, there's a hole in the heart of America that can only be filled with Epic City. And that's why you need to do something like that, man. Just roll with it, man. Just roll with it. Get a sense of humor and roll with it. All right, so we're going to check out Thaddeus's video. Let's take these first couple of super chats real quick, and then we'll jump into Thaddeus's video. I guess we can't say gay dyer anymore.
No.
Why? Why not?
We don't say that.
Why? Why can't that be said?
We don't say it.
My allergies are acting... What, now you're going to tell me I can't say, J.I. was humiliated.
I can't say that.
Andrew Wilson was humiliated. Apostate
Especially
Prophet
not
was
now.
humiliated.
Especially not Andrew Wilson, man.
It's a fun fact. You can say anything. Now, if you want to say, should you say something, that's a different story. But we can say all of these things. We have the ability. My allergies are acting up. Also, hi.
Hello.
It's good to know.
Hello there.
We will all sleep better at night knowing that. Make sure to hold your nose during the triple immersion. Oh,
I'm not going to do that.
no. Now, how's he going to drown if he holds his nose? Can't they rent a mikveh? What's that, AP?
No, they can't. That's a Jewish immersion thing, just like the Baptist thing.
Hold up. Jews do that too?
They do
Where do
baptism
you
on
think
different
we
occasions.
got baptism from?
No, I know that. I know John the Baptist and so on. That's all. But I didn't know they still do it. Is it for for some specific purpose or something?
Yeah,
they
well,
do,
but women have to do it every time their menstruation stops. So you got to go visit the mikvah and do a ceremonial bath and everything. So yeah.
Which is why they have to ensure that wherever there is a Jewish community, there has to be a mikvah somewhere available. But it is also even used if somebody happens to convert to Judaism, they also do that. Mm-hmm.
Ha! Guess everyone wants to take our Christian practices.
Everybody copies from Christianity, see?
From the Baptist, they're all copying from First Baptist Church in Macon, Georgia.
You see,
The true church.
You see these Jews stealing our practices. They tried to steal Jesus, and now they're stealing our baptism.
They stole Moses already. You see?
They already stole Moses from us. This is funny. Oh, boy. Olmert, he is not very loved in what is IL?
Israel.
That stands for Israel?
Yes.
I was about to say, why not IS, but I think Islamic State kind of ruined that one forever.
I think IS is Iceland.
What, you guys are making 0 sense with your initials here.
Because in Icelandic it would be Eastland, which is with an S.
There's no S. There's literally no S. Look at it.
Fine. Okay. Good point.
Let's see. Is it true in Islam the problem of evil doesn't exist like in Christianity, that evil is just a test from God and God isn't seen as all loving? You do have the problem of evil. They've written entire books, and this goes back to their classical philosophers and theologians who tried to deal with the problem of evil. But you're right. Allah's attributes are not perfect the way, I mean, Allah will brag over and over again that he's most this and most that and so on, but you don't, the attributes are not perfect. He doesn't love everyone, and he can let some sins slide and things like that. So his attributes aren't perfect. So it's still an issue. If God created, why did he create everything like this? But not as much. It's not as much of an issue. I'll just say that. What, were you about to jump in there, AP?
No, I was going to say something about something you just said, but I forgot.
It was the problem of evil.
It's worse. I think it's worse because evil is a special creation of Allah. And if we did not sin, he would have destroyed us to sin. And every sin is specifically written for us by Allah to commit. And then at the end, he judges us for the things he makes us do. No one misguides except Allah. No one guides correctly except Allah. And somehow, magically, we get punished for it in the end. And most of sin isn't even sin. It's just rules you're not supposed to break right now because you're going to get rewarded for it in Jannah. So I think it's a much, much bigger problem because in Christianity, it's a deprivation of good. In Islam, it's something that Allah makes and wants you to do so that he can punish you or forgive you arbitrarely for it.
Oh yeah,
in that
way, it is a bigger problem. I mean, in terms of like the sort of Western mentality about the problem of evil is, if you have a being with these perfect attributes, then you should get nothing but good. And how they've interpreted that now that people are hedonists, it's, if God existed, we would have a hedonistic paradise and so on. And then, you have to respond to that sort of thing. And in Islam, if you're not dealing with a being who has perfect attributes from the beginning, then you don't. Anyway, so they have more wiggle room on that issue. But yeah, as you're pointing out, Allah's got other serious issues of needing people to sin and things like wanting people to sin. So it's like he wants it. I will destroy you if you don't.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go into actually. What Mary just said, which is basically that Islam doesn't have the problem in the way that Christianity would have it, as people like to point it out, but that it actually has a much worse problem. And in fact, worse is an understatement, I would say, because the Islamic problem in terms of the existence of evil itself and Allah's punishment thereof, just in the end, if you go down the route, makes Allah look like a pretty illogical, but also pretty messed up, sick being.
Pretty messed up indeed. Hey, I like this. Next on the list, AZIC, Al Zut Islamic Center.
Perfect.
What do you think about reincarnation? I am Hindu. Don't believe in it. I mean, I get the idea of how it would work, but I don't believe it actually happens. Anyone else have any thoughts on reincarnation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's ruled out
specifically
by the Bible.
says it doesn't. So
What's that? You were both talking.
Go ahead.
We were both talking. I was
Go ahead,
saying
Mary.
Hebrews 9:27 specifically says it doesn't. So.
Oh yeah. He's a Hindu though. So this is a Hindu. So he doesn't
Okay,
believe
if he's a Hindu, it
he doesn't believe in he
But
doesn't,
a lot of
he doesn't believe in
Hindus
your
try to
Bible.
claim Jesus. Like, Jesus is on our side. He's one of our guys, and you guys just don't understand the reincarnation stuff. You don't even have a sentient God. But aside from that, there's also, Jesus isn't on your side in your ballpark, and I reject the entire cosmology and anthropology that would make it.
Yeah, so you heard it here, folks. Someone asked a polite question. Mary responded by viciously attacking the person's beliefs and insults.
I said I reject it.
I'm sorry, this epic sounds too crazy to be real. Yeah, fortunately, it didn't end up being real, but they're trying. And if they do not like being turned down, so they're going to keep trying. Are you continuing conspiracy theory bingo tonight, or was that just last night? Oh, I forgot about that. Is it possible that paying interest is not haram, as Sharia has not yet been implemented in Plano, Texas, as what looks a lot like cult commune, in my opinion?
So the Islamic opinion would be that that paying interest isn't dependent on Sharia being implemented. It's something that a Muslim should never do. But they have contracts that are equivalent to interest.
They do the
that
exact
are
same
not
thing,
interest. Right. So they have ways of paying interest.
Yeah. So guys, how this actually works. So let's suppose you're buying a $500,000 house and stuff. Normally, if you take out a bank loan for, you need $500,000, they're going to pay for the house for you. And then you're going to have to be paying them. They're going to charge you interest on that. For the Sharia compliant financing, they'll say, oh, okay. You need 500,000. We'll give you 500,000, but we're, for our fee, you're gonna have to pay us back 700 or 800 or something like that. And that's just, they won't call it interest, and it's not like this monthly percentage type thing. It's a fee. So, but it amounts to the same thing. You end up paying the same thing. It's like that. It's like that in everything Islam. It offers you a replacement. It says this is wrong, but then you do the same thing, but just in a halal way. It's like, oh, I can't go around banging bunches of women, but I can marry bunches of women and take a bunch of sex slaves. So it's the same thing. Okay, yeah, great.
Oh, makes sense.
Yes, you see, you just got to do it the halal way, bro. Has AP ever considered becoming a Sufi again?
Why would I ever consider such a stupid thing?
No, hey, when you after you left, I've never even asked you this. After you left, that's a good question. After you left Islam, like from the moment, could be easy, like especially within the first year. Should I go back to this or something like this? Did you ever think, hey, maybe I should go back, or was it like by the time you said I'm done with this, you were like, just no going back?
Well, It's very difficult to remember right now, but I think when I was done with it, I was so thoroughly through with it that I was completely done with it.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's how it went.
You never thought, hey, maybe I should go back?
No, there were. I mean, of course, there are kind of times in one's life where where you become a little bit weak with the decisions that you made and think about and rethink things. But I think it only went as far as thinking, like it just crossing my mind, like, I wonder how it would be if I did go back, but I never actually considered going back. No.
Interesting. And I've heard from, who were we just talking to the other day? Was it
Abdullah Samir?
Was it Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim? I'm trying to think. It was someone I talked to recently, but I'm not sure who. But yeah, she was telling me it gets so ingrained in your brain, this fear of hell, that, and all the tortures and stuff, that even after you leave, you're still like, it's always in the back of your mind. I've heard that from multiple ex-Muslims.
I think that was the worst thing, to be honest. That was the longest lasting thing that Islam gave me, the whole hell issue. I wasn't really very much concerned with the afterlife, with heaven and all that, but I was getting paranoid at some point about hell, because you learn it from very early childhood, and it's you know how it is. You know the stuff that the Quran teaches, and the stuff that you learn in Islam, the brutal, messed up torture that you will receive at Allah's hands when you die, and all that. So that is one of those things. Like, what if I'm wrong, and what if even if I seem indifferent right now, what if it turns out true, and I end up being eternally, brutally ripped apart and skinned and burned alive and again and over.
Don't forget the butt chains. Gotta remember the butt chains. He's so twisted.
Yeah. Muhammad was like, ooh, this reminds me of Al-Zut. Maybe I want to go there. Maybe I want to go there for vacation.
Yeah. That's how you know you're not Allah, because you have both a butt and a mouth, with the chain going, a huge chain going from your butt to your mouth forever, and torturing you. Because that's one of the...
Yeah, for anyone who's not familiar with the issue, yeah, you got all this weird stuff, and then but yeah, it is a one long torture chamber. Allah says he's going to burn all your skin off and then replace that with new skin. And Muslims say, it's a scientific miracle. How could he know that you feel pain in skin? No one could have ever known that people feel pain in skin.
No one has ever fallen in a fire in the history of Islam, except that people did that all the time back then.
Wow, look at this now that science has developed. I can pinch myself and feel pain. How did that happen? Wow.
Powerful. Why do Western leftists love jihad so much? Because if you want to,
it's exotic.
If you want to see, it's different, it's diverse. But no, if you're trying to bring down a civilization and someone else is helping you do it, then it works. Al-Zut Islamic Center is everything. Al-Zut Islamic Center, everything is bigger in Texas. On my Twitter, I made Al Gridlock say Mojab things. It's Grimlock, man. It's Grimlock. Grimlock. Me, Grimlock. We have this super sticker. Thank you, Moo Joe. Hey, and check this out. We got D here says, I did a report for Harris Sultan on Epic City back in April. At that time, Senator Cornyn, Governor Abbott, and AG Paxton all had open investigations into the people involved. Has anything come of this? Hey, D, you should send me that sometime if this comes. Well, maybe it's just going to fizzle out. We're never going to hear about it again. I would guess they're going to regroup and try it again at some point, in which case I'll be interested in looking into this. But
the governor took this very seriously, so I can't imagine them just letting that go, and letting them get away with this. I think... for different purposes, I would say also clearly for political purposes, for public purposes, for public purses, but also because it's just an Islam thing, and people who actually value or who rely on conservative politics don't want Islamic influence in America. I don't think that they will easily just let this go, and
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't seem. I mean, on the one hand, tons of stuff, tons of Islamic stuff is going on in Texas. That's where a lot of the guys are. That's where That's where the Muslim cowboy is, and Yasser Qadi's there, and
Daniel
I think Daniel Hakikachu and Yusuf Estes and all these guys were all Texas guys. I think that guy who got caught for having one of his Quran students make videos with her daughter and so on, and then he got. I think that guy was in Texas. But anyway, tons of stuff going on in Texas, but it seems like the wrong place to say, hey, we're going to build a Sharia compliant city or anything like that. Seems like the wrong place. It seems like it might be the last state I would actually want to try that in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as people in Texas say, don't mess with Texas. It's technically the anti-litter slogan, but people use it for everything.
Yeah.
So.
No, dude, hey, that's actually used as an example in a book called Made to Stick. But it was one of the most brilliant campaigns ever. That it used to be a problem in like the 80s and so on. It became this huge problem. Littering became a huge problem because people, young guys in their pickup trucks got the idea that it's just a cool thing to do to throw garbage out the window as you're driving down the road and stuff. And it was a cool thing to do. So the sides of the roads were just covered in litter and was considered a cool thing to do, to throw stuff out your window and stuff. And they tried changing that. They did the old AP. You're too young for this, but some people will remember. They did the commercial with the Native American, and the Native American is looking at trash, and he turns to the camera, and he's got a tear running down his cheek, and so on. They tried that, didn't work.
Fake Indian, which is even better. An Italian who pretended to be an Indian his whole life.
Yeah, I know. But they kept trying that with different things. Nothing worked, and they brought in this team that like specializes in things, and they're like, you need to modify people's idea of what it is to be a Texan into something that's like they're going to be proud of doing what they're supposed to be doing and stuff. So what they did, they started getting some people who are like heroes in Texas. So they started getting like Dallas Cowboy players and stuff like this, like the legendary ones, like Too Tall Jones and stuff. Started putting them in commercials, and they were picking up the trash on the side of the road, and so they're picking up trash on the side of the road, and one of them's like, hey, who threw this stuff here? And the other one turns and goes, I don't know, but I'd like to meet him. And then it comes up, don't mess with Texas. And so they changed the idea of what a Texan is. A Texan is not a guy drinking beer, driving down the road, throwing bottles out the window. A Texan is a defender of Texas, is a defender and protector of Texas. Anyway, litter just plummeted over the next couple of years. It actually worked. It plummeted. So they changed people's idea of what it was to be a Texan. And that massively changed their behavior and saved millions and millions of dollars. So
yeah, Virginia sucks. Let's keep Virginia beautiful. I'm like, okay. New Mexico, toss no mas. No, you suck too.
Yeah, gotta come up with different ones for different groups of people. So
what would have been better to do instead of that don't mess with Texas would be to somehow find a commercial in which first off you have to have a diverse group of people there that appears in the video. You have to have people representing all religions. You have to have a woman with a hijab standing there who also
get Yasser Qadi.
Darker skin color, and then you have Yasser Qadi there,
and have him with a tear running down
wearing
his
a
cheek.
hijab.
Yes, Yasser Qadi also
Yasser Qadi with a tear saying, "We don't like litter in Epic City.
Love stops litter." That's another state one that's just hideous.
I remember because I lived in West Virginia, so we heard the some of the stations were from Pittsburgh because that was only like an hour away and stuff. But yeah, they had their Pittsburgh Pride. Pittsburgh Pride is picking up. Pittsburgh Pride is picking up. We got a healthy city. Picking up will keep her pretty. Pittsburgh Pride is picking up. Anyway, yep. Texas made it work. No one else did.
No.
Anyway, to answer the actual question here, yes, some stuff has come up. And we'll get to that eventually, I think. Maybe.
We will. Super team here. All the Muslim, all the Muhammad mythers are running. Yes, they are. That means you, Jay Smith and Robert Spencer. AP, you or anyone else seen more of episodes of The Chosen lately? Last season is looking so based. Happy Humility Month, everyone. I have still never seen 1 second of that show.
Which season is the last season? Because the thing is, I think I watched like season 1 and 2, and then I'm not sure if I finished season 3. But then recently I sat down and just decided to watch the last episode available on Amazon, which was, I think it was the last episode of season 5. I don't know. I watched it and it was it was interesting. It was kind of cool. Yeah.
I still want to. I think my friend Isa is in. I want to sit down with like a diverse group of people. 1 or 2 Muslims, 1 or 2 Christians, 1 or 2 atheists. Maybe a Hindu, maybe a Jew. We'll all sit down and just like people who've never seen it before and just binge watch the entire series and then say whether we think it's good or
oh no, I think it was it's season 4. Season 5 hasn't even come out yet. Yeah.
Yeah, well then
See, you see, AP was lying.
Here we have Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim. David and AP, did you see Lily J's tweet about our live yesterday?
Really?
That's so stupid. Yeah.
What?
She goes,
Oh, the biggest Christian streamers are coming together to attack me, but you'll never stop the truth.
she's already responding like a Dawa clown. It's so funny.
I wasn't even aware that she said something.
Well, I'm just thinking, Lily J, if you really want attention, trust me, you don't want attention from us. But if you want attention from us and want to start running your mouth, oh my goodness, you have no idea what fire we can rain down on you, but just by responding to your stuff and exposing your stuff. Lily J, we're kind of been letting you slide on some stuff, just occasionally tossing in a response, because we want you to grow in popularity. Your stuff that's who you want to grow in popularity. People who you could just wreak havoc on everything they've done at any given moment. And so you can bring it all crashing to the ground anytime you want, but you just kind of let them keep building and building and building, because then the crash is that much more epic, but not in the city sense.
So what she tweeted is some of the biggest Christian influencers getting together to make a 2-hour expose video about me. Cute. When they can't refute the message, they attack the messenger. But this doesn't change the fact you can't. Literally, the entire 2-hour live stream was mostly about exposing how idiotic her arguments are, how she lies deliberately, how we can easily correct her using the same method that she prefers to use, and so on. So we have entirely debunked her with anything that we addressed there. When you watch the video, when you watch the 2-hour live stream, it is very clearly exposes her as a liar, full of misinformation and so on. But she goes on here and says, "Oh, they're just attacking my character. They can't even deal with the arguments." What are you talking about?
Yeah, we wrecked your arguments and we exposed your entire methodology.
Arguments are destroyed.
But yeah, by exposing your methodology, we're showing you a liar. So we technically are attacking you, but it's a fact that you're a liar and a deceiver. That's a fact.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! It's giving the answer I programmed it to give. Okay, that's extremely lame and deceptive, and so we're exposing you, and we're exposing the community that would follow you with this nonsense. But hey, Mrs. Friendly Ex-Muslim, if we know Lily J is checking out her stuff, let's do it again. So maybe set something up here in the next week or 2 or something, and we'll do another show going through some more Lily J videos, powerful Dawa videos.
I think we definitely.
I know she's not a hotel because she's getting paid. Probably a second wife, but she's.
Hey, we're gonna start stealing that. Oh, I know she's not a hotel wife because she is getting paid. Oh man. And
I definitely want to have a live stream about Lily J challenges us.
Yeah, there you go. Lily J challenges us to refute her arguments.
There you go.
Her powerful Dawa arguments. In this lovely city, this beautiful burg, will there be camel brothels? What about comfort goats, sheep bordellos? Soon it will be choked by a never-ending flood of the illegal crossing from Mexico, coming from all over the world. That's why they're going to have to call it Al Zoot City. Al Zoot City. Epic City will be Goat Hub's headquarters city. Goat Hub. And we got it's going to be Goat Hub's. That's where they're going to establish their business. Thanks for yesterday. I'm sick of all the inner fighting on YouTube. It was fun. As a default Protestant, I have respect for Eastern Orthodox for not entertaining Calvinism. Very smart. Wrong. Quit trying to attack. Look, you're sitting here talking about infighting and then attacking innocent Calvinists who've never said anything to offend anybody.
Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Pretty. Yeah, I am. I think that we all need to stop fighting, and we shouldn't be engaged in trying to attack each other, except for the Calvinists. Yeah.
That's how it works. Had a Muslim come in to us for a trial as a kitchen hand. She was asked to make some ham and cheese croissants. She wouldn't touch the ham and just made cheese croissants. I'm going to hire her and call my shop Epic Cafe. That's gonna be I meant Grimlock. Autocorrect mistake. No, I can say gridlock is actually a word that it would correct too. I meant Grimlock. Autocorrect mistake on my Twitter. That's funny. Grimlock sounds exactly like a double guy. Lily J challenges you to Mubahala. Yeah, Lily J. Where you at? Do you even Mubahala? Did they even teach you to Mubahala, Lily J? Ask ChatGPT about it. All right, guys, let's go ahead and just watch Thaddeus's video. We'll go ahead and watch it straight through unless there's a point anyone wants to stop at, or Thaddeus, if there's any point you want to stop at and break things down. But other than that, we'll just play it here. Need any intro or just go into it?
You can just go right into it. It's going to summarize the most important points from the whole saga.
Okay, so you've done most of our work for us.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, let's see. Everyone pay attention. You're going to learn everything you need to know about Epic City.
Millions raised from Muslim investors, accusations of discrimination and secret Sharia compliance, counters of Islamophobia and hate speech, and now evidence of a Ponzi scheme to cover incompetent planning. This is the story of Epic City and how Islamophobia unironically saved hundreds of Muslims from being cheated of their hard-earned savings.
Hey, I just want everyone to pay attention as we're watching this. I'm going to skip this music because I don't know if it's copyrighted or not. But
It's public domain.
I just want everyone to notice the entire time we're watching this how Thaddeus is always amused at himself.
It's true.
All right, here we go.
Epic City began as the dream of Imran Chaudhry.
I have dreamed about this project, this vision, during my sleep and during the day.
To synthetic
I have a dream, alhamdulillah, that one day 54-year-old men and 9-year-old girls will be able to bang each other, and it will all be legal here in Epic City.
So I don't say it in the video, but Imran is the president of Epic.
The city or the mosque?
Well,
Because
the
if
mosque
it's a
is the
city,
one
then
that
then he's not
So,
president of anything.
so the city doesn't exist as a legal entity. They're actually do create a legal entity for it, but he's the president of the mosque, and then he is also actually the president of the entity they create, which is Community Capital Partners.
Hey, it would be cool if they made Epic City and then he becomes the mayor. It'd be cool being the mayor of Epic City. I am the mayor of Epic City. I had a dream. All right. I just backed it up.
Epic City began as the dream of Imran Chaudhry.
I have dreamed about this project, this vision, during my sleep and during the day.
To synthetically recreate what happened organically at the original East Plano Islamic Center, or EPIC. That is, a community centered around a mosque that would entice Muslims from all across America, and perhaps even the world, to pick up their lives and move to Texas. But instead of a mixed community with individual apartments and houses slowly being bought up by Muslims, it would be a brand new community built on a foundation of unity.
The heart of our journey begins with the foundation of unity.
Did you hear the dog whistle? To the Muslim, unity means unity of religion. That is Islam. The dream began to take hold April 7th of
Why
20.
are you nodding, AP?
Because when he says unity, what
How
is
can you be the
understood what is understood with the unity as well, aside from that aspect, it is also about the unity of Muslims to come together and to establish power over the others as a religious group.
We want.
They have the Ummah, and that they are the Ummah of Tawheed. Yeah, huge, very loud dog whistle.
No, he
The-
wants. He wants unity.
Here's the thing: as a Muslim, when you grow up in Muslim culture, you hear all the time. It's kind of like no matter which Muslim ethnicity or culture you are from, growing up as a Muslim, this whole thing is always persistent that the Muslims became divided and then they became weak, and this is why they're not in control right now. This is why everything is divided, but we have to come together. What the world really fears, what the kuffar are most afraid of, is that we Muslims unite once again, because when we unite, then we will take over and they will all be scared, and then Allah will reward us and all that. So this is a very, very typical, very imperialist Muslim sentiment that you learn as a child already. So this is basically what is being appealed to.
All I was hearing was, how dare he say unity when we've all been programmed to only want diversity? There can be no unity. There can only be diversity.
You see?
Well,
24.
diversity just means a paucity of people of a certain ethnicity. It can be all one ethnicity that's different, especially if they're all female. So if you have all female Chinese people, that's diverse. But we just got to get rid of you and Thaddeus. You guys need to get out of there because you destroy
And Turks.
diversity.
And
by
all Turks.
existing.
And all
Yeah.
Turks.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Unity of religion.
Yeah, it can be all Turks. It can be all Turks.
No, we need to get
Yeah.
rid of Turks.
Oh, you need to get rid of Turks now?
They cause
No,
trouble.
they like Turks.
Look, what Turks do you know? AP,
Turks suck, man.
Chunk Uyghur.
That is Islam.
Wait, what? I'm trying to say
So
something.
this is why. No, I think this is why we need Christian unity, because what the world really fears is that Christians once again unite and have power in the world. You see, this is why we need Christian unity.
That's what you should come out of. Oh, yeah. Earlier I was talking about your baptism, and then I asked you how you're baptized because I was about to suggest a video. And then we got onto the topic of how you guys do baptism and stuff. But originally I was going to say, hey, we should make it cool. You go down into the water just as yourself, and you come up and you've got your dreadlocks. You know what I mean? You're Jamaican AP when you come out. Wouldn't that be cool? Because you said you're going to change into someone else. That'd be cool.
Yes.
Or you come out, but you're in like Crusader armor.
Ooh.
You got all kinds of things you can do with this, man. Anyway.
Yeah.
The dream began to take hold April 7th of 2024, when plans were announced at the mosque.
What is going to happen if we bring forth Epic 2.0, taking the best of Epic 1.0, and then purpose building an entire facility, an entire city?
What happens if we take Holes in the Narrative 1.0 and expand it to Holes in the Narrative 2.0 to make the holes in our narrative even bigger?
To make two holes.
Will the two holes be one? Oh, anyway. What's wrong with you, AP?
Not just a subdivision, an entire massive plot of land.
Declared Epic resident scholar Yasser Qadi.
This is going to be the opportunity of a game changer for the American da'wah scene.
The audience was encouraged to That's go actually to the a really website important and act. line there.
What?
So that's actually a really important line.
The
that
dawah scene?
Qadi views this as an opportunity to spread Islam, right? He views this as an opportunity to change the way people look at Islam. He's not really into the kinds of logical arguments, or if we can call them logical arguments anyway, that dawah people do. He thinks that you should do dawah by living a good life and being a good example for the community. And
I was doing a bang up job of that.
Yeah,
He
sure.
He honestly thinks that if you only had a community that's almost entirely Muslim, that everyone would go, wow, it's a beautiful and peaceful and wonderful place, just like we do
Just
right
like
now
Pakistan.
with with all the other countries and certain places in Michigan, we're like, I really want to move there because, the Muslims make it so wonderful. That's
Oh,
totally
yeah.
the response of normal human beings. And
That's where
this
you want to
lets
send all your daughters. Yeah.
yeah, this lets you know where he was raised. That he has not really lived in an Islamic country and been part of the culture ever. Because this is something none of those guys born in the other countries would ever say this. That is going to be a result of the city. This is a Yasser Qadi idea.
Yeah, Yasser Qadi's like, and think, brothers and sisters, how well this worked in Jonestown. If it worked in Jonestown, why can't it work here?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know what Jonestown is, that was a cult leader Jim Jones started and then had everyone drink poison Kool-Aid when they realized it was all going to be undone. And so when you heard drink the Kool-Aid having something to do with cults, that's a reference to that place. All right.
Still my favorite. Yeah.
The audience was encouraged to go to the website and act quickly to secure their spot in Epic City.
I'll take
At
two.
the website, the prospective investor was greeted with a promise that Epic City was designed to be, quote, a thriving ecosystem that cultivates growth, fosters meaningful connection, and paves the way for prosperity. What a deal! Not only do I get a home, I get a path to prosperity. Take my money, please!
Shut up and take my money!
An investor's perspectives showed the plan. 402 acres of rural farmland would be converted to approximately 1,000 single-family homes, apartments, multiple parks, an Islamic school, commercial property, and of course, at the heart of it all, a beautiful mosque.
Where are all the sex slaves going to be kept?
In a mosque.
And the
Oh, okay.
apartments.
Okay, in the mosque and the apartments. Okay, no, I just wanted to clarify that.
Already there were signs of trouble. The topography of the land was ignored, and houses were drawn over dotted yellow lines. The dreamers who put it together didn't say, or probably even know, what the lines meant, but a review of FEMA maps show they represent floodplains for the nearby river. In the corner, next to the cheapest lots, there's a square that looks like a park, but is labeled with a cryptic WWTP. More on that in a minute. Reviewing the legal structure of the investment also raises questions. Since it would be illegal to sell plots of land one doesn't own, Epic structured the $80,000 minimum investment as a purchase of 1/500th share in a limited partnership. Partners would later get the right to buy a plot with their $80,000 applied towards the cost of the lot. They would not be allowed to sell their share for the foreseeable future, and all decision-making would be restricted to the sole general partner, a to-be-created for-profit entity, Community Capital Partners, or CCP. Yes. David had to pause it for my little CCP thing there. But when we did a live stream, people were legitimately confused. They kept saying, why are you talking about the Communist Party? Why are you trying to link Islam with communism and such?
It's not our fault. And then we were slandering them. Like,
yeah, a
you
Muslim
can't be
came and
taken
said, why are you
seriously,
slandering Islam? Trying to link them to China.
Yes.
Yeah, so I complimented them earlier on their choice of Epic as a name. Once I realized it could be defended and it's not some just, hey, we're just going to call it Epic City. Once it was actually defensible, I complimented them for that. Here, now you go with CCP? What's next? KKK? What are you going to do? Huh? Come on. Anyway.
Bad move.
Yes. The organization that will own the land hasn't even been formed, or at least the document hasn't been updated, when the call for investment went out. CCP would have a 3-member board, all of whom just happened to be management of the existing Epic. The mosque even warned that the limited partnership itself was a poor investment and land would be sold well above market value to pay for the building of the mosque.
The cost of the masjid construction, the cost of the school, the cost of the parks and the parking and all of this, that is already included. So it is going to be higher than the market price.
None.
Hang on. Let me see that. So Epic 2.0 Epic City Update, invest $80,000 per share now. 40,000 immediately and 40,000 by the end of the year. Guaranteed developed lot with 15% discount on the lot price. Well, it's a good discount. Price of lot includes.
But Lot is a prophet. What are you doing? What are you saying? I say, what is this? They're insulting the prophet.
Talking about a prophet, the price of lot. You can't buy a prophet, you dumb kafir. Price of lot includes land purchase. Masjid, school, parks, development timeline, 24 to 36 months from the closing of the land. So once they actually get the land, then a couple years after that. I have to say that's a downside already, right? You're thinking, it's just going to be years down the road that I get this place, and I'm going to give you a pile of cash now. This is only going to work with that would only work with wealthy people who have stacks of cash laying around. Mm-hmm. Prices of lots.
Well,
it's
actually,
not. I just want to say it's not like you can. I'm gonna sell my house now and then move into this place. It's like you can't sell your house now because you don't have a place to move into, so you don't have the cash, unless you're just a guy who has fat stacks of cash laying around.
Fat stacks.
Yeah, and they actually require you to have fat stacks of cash, as you put it. They require you to either have $1 million net worth or annual income of $200,000 before you can apply. That's what the SEC considers an accredited investor, and they say they only will accept accredited investors.
And so how would this work? I would scan this QR code here, and it would take me to. What happens if I
imagine it's going to take you to the website, which has changed since they made this video, but the Epic City one at least is still up.
And I want to point out that many subdevelopments do have.
Oh yeah, Epic City. Oh, you can't see it because it's too bright. It's Epic City 2.0 shares registration form, and you just insert all your info there and send them a big fat check. Okay, got
it. Yeah. What is kind of funny is that it's above the normal price. It's above the market price, but there are plenty of communities that offer all kinds of fancy amenities that are not that insanely priced, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Yeah. So this whole thing, it's structured in such a way that they're trying to avoid, legalities. They're trying to create a loophole, basically, because they can't sell the land, right? They can't, because they haven't even purchased it, so they can't sell a lot on the land. And so they're saying you're buying a piece of this limited partnership, but that limited partnership has no actual value. And then they're going to apply all of the money you paid for that share of the limited partnership towards your lot later at a discounted price. But then you're going to have to put down additional money at the time that the lot comes for sale, which is like $125,000 to $250,000, something like that, depending on the size of the lot. And then that just gives you a lot. You got to pay to build your house, right? You're just getting a lot that has pipes and sewers and whatnot ready to go so that you can build a house, because right now the land is just farmland. There's no running water, there's no sewage, there's nothing. And so you're paying for all that. But basically they're structuring it so that there is a substantial donation towards building the mosque as part of your purchase price. That's what they're really doing. The mosque and the Islamic school. The parks and such are probably pretty incidental, but they're structuring so you have to have a mandatory substantial donation to build a mosque as part of your purchase.
So they still also need to, you were saying something about they still need to buy the land?
Right. So you're technically buying a share in a limited partnership. You're buying a piece of a company. Okay. And then the company
is going to buy the land.
It's going to buy the land, and then they will develop it. They'll put running water on the and whatnot, get it ready to build a house. Then they'll sell you the land at a predetermined price, which is in the document. And then after that, you then have to pay the $200,000 or whatever to build a house. So your actual investment is like $400,000 or something like that.
Yeah, quite a bargain. So you give these guys a big pile of cash, and then that's going to be used to get land and develop it. And eventually, and we're talking way down the road, you can eventually build your house there.
Yep.
Okay. Quite a deal. Quite a deal, ladies and gentlemen. All right.
the cost of the parks and the parking and all of this, that is already included. So it is going to be higher than the market price.
Nonetheless, the lure of a Muslim city and the promise of fostering prosperity was enough to prevent caution, and all shares were tentatively sold within 12 hours of the announcement. A diverse group of investors, and not just Muslims from the mosque, I'm sure. Optimism was high, and Epic expected not to just close on the land, but also have MUD approval by June. A municipal utility district, or MUD, is a quasi-governmental agency that handles the distribution of water, sewer, drainage, and road facilities in a given area of Texas.
Hey, I actually like how Thaddeus will use a term, and then I think, what the heck is that? And then he'll explain it right after that.
When we were figuring out on the live stream, we're like, what is that? Let's look it up. So
Yeah, he just talks about, in the video, we were just going through the videos. He talks
I thought you were
about how
saying
they
he as in
expect
yourself. I thought that was funny.
No,
Because I said
no,
Thaddeus.
but,
I like how Thaddeus explains what he means. Yeah, he does that. He does that. Thaddeus does that.
No, Imran Chaudhry, I think it was. It was one of their guys anyway. He just says we expect to have MUD approval by June 12th. I'm like, I have no idea what that is. Do you know what that is, Mary?
And I'm like,
And then I
no.
figured
So
it
I'm
out.
like, tap, 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 while he's still talking, trying to figure out what it was.
But this is actually a super critical point, as Mary figured out while we were live, that they can't just buy water. They can't just buy sewer.
I can buy water
they
right
thought
now.
they could, right? Well, they can't buy, the pipe system. They can't tap into.
I
an
bought
existing
water today.
pipe because it's too rural. The property is too far out, too far from any existing water district. So they have to first pay to form a water district, come up with a distribution plan, get it approved by the state. Then after they've done that, then they can, from their own utility district, get approval to build the pipes and whatnot. So it's like
Right.
super, super massive undertaking that they did not understand at all.
And there are 2 reservoirs in that area that are administered by the state that they would be, once they had formed their MUD, they would be permitted to take water from the reservoirs to their districts. But they'd have to do all that after the approval, and they'd have to oversee all that. And then once the water got there, they would have to treat it for local distribution. They would have to have something like, say, a water tower or pumps, but nobody does pumps in Texas. So where's the water tower on that lovely 3D rendering and the 2D rendering that he showed? There's not even a place for one. So they're going to have Bluetooth water, apparently, as far as we can tell. And, again, Texas has its own power system that's disconnected from most of the U.S. power grid and stuff. So they have their own supply. And once you form your MUD, you can tap in, but then you need to have your substation for distribution, which is where?
So just to be clear, this sounds like a couple of guys who had no idea how much stuff there is involved in building a town decided, you know what would be cool? A Muslim town. Hey, should we keep moving into an area until it becomes all Islamic and then we just take it over with an already existing town there and already existing infrastructure and all that stuff? No, let's just build one from scratch. There's a piece of land over there. Let's take up a collection. We'll buy that chunk of land. We'll have a town there. Look, here, we can draw one. Hey, look, I'll just put this over here, and I'll put this over here, and put that over there, and that over there, and then look there. Ha ha, all right, everyone, here's our town that we just drew up.
And at first, at first I thought that they had no more clue than a child first time playing Sim City or City Skylines, where they're like, just putting stuff here, no power, no water, no poo. But there is that
Allah will make it work.
There is the WWTP, the wastewater treatment plant, which they just coded. They colored it like it's a park. And so there's Poop Park down there by the cheap houses, which are still going to be very expensive. People are going to have their backyards right up to a mere 5-acre poop park right next door. But they didn't seem to.
But the jinn will eat all the poop.
Have any money for it, right? So they just expect the state. The state will. We just have to make this MUD, and then the state, they'll have to do everything, and they'll pay for everything. And that is not how it works. You get approval for your plans for these things.
Allah will make Zamzam water rain down on us.
Well, Muslims historically in the time of Muhammad were not terribly great at the whole sanitation thing. Muhammad spent at least until his last 5 years. At minimum, he was still terrified of latrines, so they were all pooping out in the fields at night. And the whole reason women wear burqas is because Muhammad was too scared of the latrine gens. So maybe there's just this built-in fear from the religion about thinking about toilets without the proper spells and precautions to protect you from them. So they thought that the filthy kuffar can deal with their poop and they won't have to.
Well,
What if I'm out there pooping and then I get molested by jeans?
That's what he was thinking.
yes, I mean, I went out to poop one night, and then all these men of Al Zut came and took advantage of me. It was actually Muhammad going into the desert to use the bathroom. And he's like, "Hey,
Nice.
Don't look at me, Abdullah bin Masud. You stand behind the line. I'm scared of latrines, but I'll be okay out here. Hey, who are all these guys mounting me?" And he was really traumatized. But here's the thing with Muhammad, all you have to do is change the word, right? So you're sitting here saying Muhammad was scared of latrines, and yet all you have to do is call it a well, like the well of Buddha, where they dumped all their feces and pee buckets and used menstrual cloths and dead animals. And they said, "Hey, can we use this for ablutions?" Muhammad said, "Of course you can. Water is not made impure by anything."
So maybe they weren't planning on doing water treatment as it was coming in to drink. They don't need it because water's not made pure by anything. So they're like, "Hey, we'll just pipe it straight from the creek nearby and just send it to the houses. It'll be great."
Yeah, not
because
made.
the water's
Hey, that's
pure.
that's
There we
actually a
go.
brilliant point. Maybe they took Muhammad's claim seriously. Water is not made impure by anything. So the state is like, "Hey, you need a water treatment plant." Ha ha! Liar! Muhammad said water is not made impure by anything. You dumb kuffar. Just give us your toilet water. Send your toilet water to us, and we will drink it and use it for ablutions, because water is not made impure by anything. Ha ha! We've refuted and humiliated you.
If you can't find a toilet, you can just use my cup of water. It's no problem. I will drink it anyway.
So, yeah, and also, you have the situation in Pakistan where there are people going around trying to teach the locals about using water and sanitation and stuff, and they're having problems in some cases with the restaurants they have lost squat toilets, and they'll just wash the vegetables and stuff in the squat toilets and use it to cook with because of water not being made impure by anything. Or they'll say a bismillah over it because
seasoning.
that's supposed to make anything pure. And then just use things. They're like, "No, you're giving everyone dysentery. Stop it." That's why we still get cholera from 21st century Hajjs spread cholera around the world. Because
You're not getting
Muhammad's
dysentery.
Wonderful scientific teachings.
You're not getting dysentery. Your intestines are lying to you.
Indeed.
So we've solved it. They don't need a mud.
They're good.
They're
They're
just
good.
homophobic.
Hey
Do not
guys,
let them use the pedal.
Epic City, let us represent you in court. We can defend you. We know your sources. We can defend every insane, ridiculous thing you're doing that any person who actually knows how to build a city or a town would look at this going, "These guys are nuts. They don't know how this works." We can refute them using the words of your prophet. So just give us our cut of the Epic City Fund, and we'll handle everything for you in court.
According to the plan, developed lots would be delivered in 2.5 to 3 years, with mosque and other facility construction well underway. The problem? The proposed site for Epic City has no running water, isn't easily accessible by existing roads, and isn't even governed by a mud. Thus, a mud would have to be formed before basic needs for 1,000 homes could even be imagined as possible, let alone obtained. All this would cost money and a lot of time unbudgeted for. Remember that WWTP square? It stands for Wastewater Treatment Plant. There is no indication of any money, timeline, or plan for building it, so apparently they expected the state to pay for it. But such is not the case in reality. Another cost unaccounted for. The months dragged on and closing was delayed. Finally, on September 27th, epic history was made and CCP officially took ownership of the land. A big celebration was held at the mosque with lots of fanfare to hype up participants. but little, if any, concrete information was given. No talk of the mud, no talk of timetable updates, just celebration of how far they'd come. Months behind schedule. But no matter. The final payment on that $80,000 is due by the end of the year, so make sure you don't lose your place and get remaining funds in ASAP. Based on earlier statements, the mud filing should have happened immediately. Instead, months passed with no material updates, just vague statements about more projects in the works before the first had gone anywhere. No accountability, just shareholders left in the dark. Behind the scenes, Chaudhry and friends likely got the terrible news. They will have to pay for the mud, the water treatment plant, and lots more they didn't imagine. Will they come clean or cover it up? The winter drags on with no update until suddenly, out of nowhere, a new big announcement is made at Epic on February 11th, 2025. The project is such a success, Mott's leadership announces, that they need to expand it.
Because of the demand, we are now opening up Epic Ranches.
The number of shares in CCP will be doubled to 1,000, with no indication how that can be done legally, since in theory 99.95% of the company is already sold. And 2 new Epic Ranches projects are announced.
Epic Ranches 1 begins with 1 acreage and goes up to 5 acreage. And Epic Ranches 2 has plots of ½ acre and also investment opportunities for those who want to build condominiums.
If the setup for Epic City was careful, the setup for Epic Ranches is anything but. Instead of a detailed document about company structure with numerous legal disclaimers, the new investor's prospectus is brief and filled with sales pitches. No legal information or disclaimers are provided, just a list of prices for lots. Lots which don't exist on land which hasn't been purchased.
What good is a lot without Alusa and Manat?
You see?
So remember the first time. The first time they understood that they couldn't actually sell lots, right? They couldn't actually sell plots of land that they don't have approval to divide in that specific way, because you also need approval from the county or whoever governs it to divide land into specific lots. And they don't even own the land. So the first time they were very careful. They said that they were going to set up a limited partnership. You're buying the limited partnership. Here's our plan, but it may change. This isn't final. We don't know what your exact lot will look like. This time, they literally allow you to pick a lot on the map they've drawn and buy that lot of land. So they are like, oh, it worked so well the first time. No one complained. We didn't get in any trouble. Just throw it together real quick. Let's get some more money.
Nice. Now I want to do this. Think about this. Hey, everyone, I'm going to buy this huge chunk of land. And if you want a house there, send me $80,000.
Nice.
Ha! Never hear from me again. I'll be in Romania with Andrew Tate. What? Me and Andrew Tate. Me and the Tater.
Cotty takes to social media to brag about the project. His X post goes viral and attracts more than 1 million views before it's ultimately deleted. But it's too late.
Wait, he deleted it?
Yeah, he deleted the X post anyway.
Okay.
He didn't delete. He put it on other social media. He put it on like Instagram and Facebook, and those still exist. But the X one that went viral, he deleted.
Why did he delete it?
I think the intention. I'm guessing. I think the intention would have been, hey, we need more Muslim investors to spend money, so let me put that out there. We need to popularize this. But then it popularized it with the wrong crowd, because people like me had no idea what you guys are doing. And then they're like, hey, what's going on here? But a bunch of other people are like, hey, what's going on there? And they're like, hey, governor, what's going on there? And hey, what's going on in Texas? Are they making a Sharia compliant city in Texas? And so that could possibly be nothing to do with fraud or them screwing up or something like that. Could have just been, oh, I'm getting attention from all the people who can't stand Yasser Qadi because he's a compulsive liar and a dirtbag. And so let's take that down and do it how we were doing it before. But also, oh, this isn't working. We screwed up. We didn't know what we were talking about. This isn't going to work. We're never going to get this place. And so shut it all down. Shut it all. What do you think it is, Thaddeus?
Well, let's put it this way. They have also taken the website offline. That's going to be in the video here in a second. They really Epic, even though they announced it at the mosque, they encouraged people to invest. Yasser Qadhi works for the mosque. All the people involved worked for the mosque. The mosque had issued a statement on April 3rd, I think it was, that this is a private venture that has nothing to do with Epic City. It has nothing to do with Epic Masjid. It's totally independent. So the fact that they're disavowing it and they've removed the website after that some of the lots on the website had little boxes saying someone had purchased them, I think that they screwed up big time. And they realized that the Epic Ranches project. Now, Epic City, they might be able to defend. Epic Ranches, they definitely were not going to be able to defend. And also, they probably didn't have a legal contract to buy the land yet. And thus, also possible that the person who actually owns the land is like, well, after it became a social media storm, is like, I'm not selling you that land anymore.
Yeah. Or, I mean, unless you had some deal, it would actually be. So as far as you know, have they purchased that land?
So they purchased the original property, and they had some sort of legal agreement to purchase it by such and such a date if they were able to come up with the funds. So in that case, it was locked in. The person who owned the land couldn't back out of it unless they failed to, produce the funds by such and such a date. And they bought the original land in September of last year.
Okay, so they got that. That's good, because I was thinking, man, if I own a piece of land and you announce that you're doing this on that land, that price is suddenly going to skyrocket.
Yep.
All right, but Thaddeus says some of the stuff is coming up. Let's check it out.
Is out of the bag. For close to a year, Epic City flew under the radar, attracting nothing more than some minor grumbling from the local rural community who learned about the land sale and plans, not from Epic, but from local social media. Because of Qadhi's big mouth, Texas politicians would soon be weighing in. On February 24th, Texas Governor Greg Abbott comes out strongly against Epic City, saying, to be clear, Sharia law is not allowed in Texas. Muslim advocacy groups quickly respond with cries of Islamophobia. And to be fair, there was no indication, official or otherwise, that Epic City was planning to skirt the law and institute Sharia. Whatever you want to call it, the tweet opened the floodgates, and pretty soon it was clear there were real problems above and beyond any possible discrimination. State Attorney General Ken Paxton is asked to investigate, and on March 26, it is revealed that the original Epic has been conducting funerals without a license and is ordered to stop. The next day, it is announced that the State Security Board is investigating.
What's that?
I said, so if you want to pause there. So the original Epic, this masjid that's been in operation since the early 2000s, 2003, if I remember correctly, at some point they started conducting funerals and they never got a license to do it. Now, because all this attention being drawn on the Epic City or Epic Ranches project, it's revealed that, oops, they've been doing illegal activity all this time, and the state shuts that down. So now their existing mosque has faced consequences for the new project.
Wait a minute. So Yasser Qadhi's involved in something where he's trying to do one thing and then it backfires and ends up ruining everything? Yep. Huh. Shocker. I'm proud of that.
Epic City for failure to comply with reporting requirements and violations of consumer protection laws. Around this time, the Epic Ranches website disappears, replaced with an empty WordPress shell. On April 3rd, Epic releases an official statement disavowing the project, saying, quote, Epic Ranches is a private investment that is not affiliated with Epic Masjid or CCP. Strangely, no such disclosure was made at the website or in the mosque when the project was enthusiastically announced. It seems clear to me what happened. An imam had a dream. His friends at the mosque agreed, and they enthusiastically moved forward despite very little real estate experience between them. They got legal counsel and tried their best to do things right, but enthusiasm overran due diligence, and the plan was doomed before it ever began. Eventually, it became clear to insiders this was a much bigger project they had imagined, and the $40 million they had raised was not nearly enough to move forward. $17 million already went to buy the land, and the development would run into the hundreds of millions, far above the $23 million they had on hand. Instead of explaining to shareholders the struggles, they decided to take on more investors and use their funds to hopefully meet the promises already made.
Oh, hence the Ponzi thing.
No one raised questions the first time, so no need to be careful this time.
Guys, get the idea of the Ponzi scheme. The Ponzi scheme is where you need to bring in new people to cover the people who are anyway. So hey, we're gonna make this city here. Everyone invest, and then we'll have our little town. And then so okay, we everyone invests, and now you've got all these millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars. Okay, actually, it costs way more than that. Let's say we're having the Epic Ranches, and so hey, buy your Epic Ranches now. Send us more money, and that would be used to build the original thing, and then you're going to worry about that later. But then suppose you were actually successful and then you had to build these Epic Ranches, but you already spent the Epic Ranches money on, to make up for what you were missing for, Epic City. Now we got Epic Ranches, so we're going to have to make Epic Trailer Parks. And so buy your lot in Epic Trailer Park, because I'm West Virginia. That's where I grew up in a trailer parks. That's what I was thinking the entire time. You guys are asking for piles of money. What about people who don't have $1 million sitting around? What are you going to do, right? So they need Epic Trailer Parks, and so reserve your lot in Epic Trailer Parks today and use that to fund the Epic Ranches. And then, okay, how are you going to, now you don't have any money to pay for the actual trailer park. So what do? Oh, we need Epic something else, right? You just have to keep doing that. Mm-hmm. Smart guys, smart business model. All right, here's the
just throw something together quickly and let the dollars flow in. Then Cotty blew it by creating a media storm, and the Ponzi plot was cooked. Documents released by the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality and statements by Epic themselves reveal the truth. Nothing has been done since the initial proposal. No plans have been submitted to the state. No permits have been sought, and Epic City is farther than ever from breaking ground, nearly a year into their 2.5-year schedule to complete land development. It seems quite likely that eventually Epic will have to give up, sell the land, and return the proceeds to its investors. What started as an Islamophobic tweet will end up saving Muslim investors millions of dollars, as the project was never going to work and the Ponzi scheme was bound to collapse sooner or later. But not so fast! Epic City has hired high-profile lawyer Dan Cogdell to save the day, and he has a brilliant plan. To learn more, click here.
There's nothing there, Thaddeus. What are you pointing at?
I know, because you download it.
Oh, yeah, it's me. It's me, everyone. Yeah, I'm at fault. Anyway, this entire situation has been a huge inspiration. That's why I'm announcing the construction of Dizzletown right here. As you can see, the plan is very well laid out. It has multiple spots for various residences and so on, and you all can put your down payment down now in the form of any super chats. Anyone who sends super chats is going to get a town in my own fictional city. I mean, you get a house in my own fictional city. We're gonna have a cool church and stuff. It's gonna be awesome. And
you need to draw more houses than that. Can I have a castle? Draw me a castle.
Yeah. No, I'm going to have a castle for myself, so that like when people are mad that nothing is working in my town, that they can't, they're going to be a moat around my castle, and they're not going to be able to get me because I'm going to have alligators in there. So anyway,
hey, you know what's funny? Something very, very completely unrelated but interesting. Background, culturally speaking, in differences between countries. So you just mentioned trailer parks, right? I was just thinking, as you mentioned trailer parks, how there is no Turkish equivalent to trailer parks, but there actually is. But it's kind of weird. So in Turkey, there's this concept called a gecekondu, which literally means placed overnight. Which refers to little homes that are made in very, very crappily.
That's not a trailer park, man.
But they're like so The term literally means put up overnight, because these are like little crappy homes that were established without permission, overnight usually at those times, and then people just came and started squatting and living there, and just like that, and established entire neighborhoods of those little homes. So now you can see that Turkey has a bunch of places with these very crappy homes that don't look like anything, but that is basically the Turkish equivalent of a trailer park. But even that is worse than a trailer park.
That's way worse than a trailer park, man. I was not dissing trailer parks, man. That's where I grew up. Dang it! Who are you talking to?
Trailer parks suck, man. I can't imagine interacting with somebody who actually grew up in a trailer park.
That's just a shanty town.
Yeah.
Or a bidonville, which you should say, pretend I said that with a French accent, because that's the French, and I don't know how to pronounce it in French.
Nice.
No, my trailer park was super cool. There was a mountain behind us and then a river on the other side. It was the coolest place on the planet to play when you were a kid. So in your face. Can't say the same for AP's Turkish shanty town. What were you saying, man?
If you don't have a creek where you can fish for crawdads and get pinched by them, I mean, what have you got?
You got nothing. You got nothing. Oh boy! All right, so yes, everyone, we're going to go through these super chats just so everyone who's named in these super chats is getting a plot in my imaginary town. Just so you know.
Oh, nice.
Dave D. Wood, you made me crave Mickey D's, but I ended up opting for BK. Sorry, got my shake dough. That's good. Chocolate shake. No, it's chocolate shake. Ronald McDonald. Shake Yasser Qadi. Shake Ronald McDonald. Nebuchadnezzar shall reclaim Epic City as the ruler via the chain of gyration from Ezra. You want it all, but you can't have it. Faith no more. That's good.
Nice.
Hey, Isa. Isa said, I heard this extremely bizarre point in the debate sphere of Hebrew prophets being Muslim and making Salah. I'm like, did they recite Surat Al-Fatiha? Yes.
Probably.
Isa, if you're making stuff up, you can just make up anything, right? You could say they were reciting the entire Quran.
What's really funny is that that's supposed to be one of two things that no one has ever received before from Allah. So apparently the other prophets got stuff like cursing Abu Lahab. They just didn't know what it was, apparently. So they were like, cursed be Abu Lahab and cursed be his wife and all of that stuff.
Yeah, in their face.
But they didn't get Surah Al-Fatiha. So so they were doing Salah, but they were all doing it wrong before Muhammad, apparently. Because
Abraham knew the whole Quran by memory, except for Surah Fatiha.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he
and
recited
one other verse
it
at the end of 4 that isn't particularly important.
He recited it in Mecca for years, where he was the imam. The Texas man jelly scraping business market about to blow up. You seem what is this? What is this weird stuff, man? There is no hotel. Oh, that's right. No hotel on the map. So Hijab's definitely not going to live there. Mm-hmm. He's got to have the hotel. Did AP beat himself up when he was a Sufi?
No.
Did you do any of that Sufi stuff where you guys beat the crap out of yourself?
No.
Okay.
We don't do that. Only some do that. Only very few do that.
It's a North African thing, I think.
Starkey says Spatula City. Yeah. Anyone know what that is? I do. Spatula City. We sell spatulas, and that's all.
There are some Sufi orders that do this wild thing where they stab themselves during some rituals. There are Sufi orders in the Balkans and some others, kind of fringe ones that do these things where they take these very sharp things and actually like stab themselves, like put it through their tongues and their skin and all that. Yeah. And to this day, I still don't understand what is wrong with them.
Yeah, I read all the weird tourist stuff from the early 20th century and late 19th century, and like, they'd let Westerners come in and watch them stab themselves. Westerners sit there watching, these people are weird, they're stabbing themselves, and they do this, and then that's really weird. Yeah.
Very messed up.
So many biz opportunities. You Seaman LLC and they know that was Gabriel Hotel. Oh yeah, you can have a hotel. You can have an entire hotel for hooking up with your, whoever the Diya al-Kalbi is in your life, and then everyone at the hotel is trained to say, "No, he was just meeting with the angel Gabriel here," because that's what worked for Muhammad.
That's why you need themis, because it was a particular task of themis in certain North African areas, I believe primarily in Egypt, that they were forced to host Muslim men who had grabbed their Muslim youths for a little role in the marital bed to extra humiliate them. So this cannot be a full functioning Islamic city without some themis to humiliate. Maybe that's who they think is going to run all of the systems.
That's a good point. Yes. Yes.
No, I was thinking of two things, and then I was about to post where'd these comments go. I lost them. Oh yeah, here we go. I just wanted everyone to see who caught it. Spatula City, that's old school. We got it all on UHF. Have no idea how to use it. Cool antenna though. So we had some people who remember. Oh, there we go. UHF in my Ranger.
Nobody knows what that means.
Everyone, yeah, that's what I mean. It's right. Yes, Spatula City, loved it. There were a few people who knew it. UHF. All right.
Literally, no single person knows what this means.
Everyone in the universe who's cool knows what that's about. Where'd it go? All right, back to D. A portion of each land purchase includes funds dedicated to the building of roads, utilities, parks, and importantly, to the gender-segregated schools and the mosque.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
Were schools going to be gender-segregated?
Yeah, so Epic, the existing Epic, has a girls' school, and they just completed a boys' school in the fall. I don't know if it's open and in use yet, but it certainly will be in use next school year if it isn't already. And they've had a girls' school for a few years already.
And the priority is girls' school, of course, because Islam teaches you that if the women aren't covered up and kept away, then they will be abused by whom? Muslim men. According to the Quran, not according to me. That you tell your wives and your daughters to cover up because otherwise they'll be abused. And in context, the only one doing the abusing are Muslim men.
So hide
specifically
your kids,
when they go out to at night.
Hide your kids, hide your wives, hide your kids, hide your wives.
From all Muslim men.
Everybody out here. Hey. Yeah. We'll call the hotel Al Zut Hotel. Al Zut City and Al Zut Hotel. What do you guys have to say about the 90-foot Hindu statue in Texas? Would you prefer this over a mosque? Yeah, I'd prefer a 90-foot Hindu statue in a heartbeat over a mosque. Hindus don't threaten to brutally murder me in the name of Shiva or something like that.
And they do less of the objectionable stuff in the United States too.
Yeah, to be clear, everyone.
Forced Hindus murdering people in the U.S.
Yeah, to be clear, you've got freedom of religion here in the United States. You can build a mosque, you can build a mosque, you can build a temple, you can build a church, and so on. If someone tries to make a city where we're wondering how Sharia compliant they're going to be, that becomes a relevant issue, especially if they're going to be conflicting with American law. But anyway, that's why we're looking into it. And then turns out there's not really anything to look into because it doesn't look like it's going to happen. I mean, I suspect they'll regroup and try again, but that'll be down the road. But the point is, there are a bunch of people who already have it in their minds that we need a Sharia compliant city so that our kids don't keep apostatizing.
Well, I think, in all honesty, I think no matter if it's supposed to be Sharia compliant or not, any attempt or any plan to establish any form of Islamic city or anything of that sort, I think should be approached with great skepticism and caution, and maybe looked into with great scrutiny. I don't know. It doesn't really matter if Sharia compliant or not. I think being Islamic alone is a big problem.
Yeah, so the idea here, everyone, is if a Hindu is building a giant statue, never crosses my mind, oh, this Hindu's trying to take over the world. Someone like Yasser Qadi, I know what he believes. And so if he's interested in developing a piece of real estate, I'm thinking nothing but bad things about what he's intending.
Yep.
Songs of Release said, I bought my share. I hope they put me in the floodplain or by the wastewater treatment plant.
There are a couple that are both. They're both bought in a floodplain and right by the wastewater treatment plant.
Win-win. That's why they call it win-win.
Win-win. Yeah.
Islam's scientific miracle, the muddy puddle by the sun sets in. Haha, you see? Yeah, that'd be funny if they actually found the pool where the sun sets in and used that for their wastewater. Megiddo prison inscription contained in the mosaic is the one which says, to the God Jesus Christ. This is extremely significant, dated to AD 230. Yes, this is correct. Does it have sky poo system like the Burj Khalifa? I don't know.
Maybe that it was their plan. They were just going to pull up trucks to like septic trucks and just have lines of septic trucks going down the highway one after another, the way they did the Burj Khalifa for.
Oh yeah. How did that work? It's like they made this giant building, but they didn't count on how much waste was going to be coming out of it and stuff. And it caused problems.
They planned to upgrade theirs, and they had not upgraded their waste treatment plant and didn't plan to do it until well after it was done. So for months and months, they just hooked up trucks and drove them down the highway to a place that was a substitute for the regular waste treatment plant, which is even more worrying because waste treatment is not excellent in a lot of those places to begin with.
Yeah.
So.
But the jinn will eat it also. Well, the joke's on you, Thaddeus. Idolaters of a 7th century Arab nomad don't need electricity and running water. This is the strength of the Ummah.
In fact, Muhammad said that that anyone who built a tall house was a person who was not spending his money the way he should. They should all have one-room huts, and they all need to be kind of the same size as his. And one of his companions made a big point about the fact that all of his wives' houses were built so low that if you raised your hand, you would always touch the roof. That's how low they were. And that is the proper way to build a house.
Well, I will build mine even lower.
Yeah, all of this, they will compete to build houses. That's supposed to be the sign of the end times and apostasy. So if you are building a tall house, which is apparently more than like one story, that's a sign that you're contributing to apostasy, according to Muhammad.
Good job, Yasser Qadi.
Yeah.
This live stream is, well, epic. That's what we do. As a structural engineer who has had multiple major projects strangled with red tape, the complete lack of intelligent planning for Epic 2 is painful. Sounds like they should have hired you first. Or someone who knew what he was doing. Anyone. Just anyone.
I still love the Poop Park. Like, they're like, oh, we have parks. It's a feature.
Nice.
Poop Park.
Quality production, Reason answers. No.
Thank you.
It is nicely done. Very nicely done.
Well, how's he pointing to nothing at the end of his video? Yeah, explain that. Just getting here, not sure who that is in the corner, but her lipstick is gorgeous. Brand and color, please.
It is 2 different colors. It is, and I don't remember the brands. They're both. I'm pretty sure they're both. One of them's off the just out of Walmart. The other one's.
I will look it up and leave a comment.
Place, but I don't even remember what it is. So it's a layer. It's a more permanent one with another one on top.
Muslims in Michigan are trying to do this same type of thing in Macomb County. That would not surprise me at all. Well, I'm convinced. Take my money. Deal. Mark me down for a $2 lot. All right, got you down. You're set. You're set for life. Are winglings welcome in Dizzletown? No, that's the main feature. There are no winglings in Dizzletown. And if one shows up, the whole town gathers around and beats the crap out of him. Will the town have hijab hotels? Which one, Dizzletown or Epic City? Epic City, yeah, they would need to. You need to. That's the way. That's the reason it's falling apart, and they're not getting enough cash invested into the system. They have not made their hijab hotel. Dizzleville works too.
All the Dawa guys trying to move there are like, well, why is there no hotel? If there's no hotel, I'm not moving there. What's the benefit of doing Dawa without a hotel? Where are we going to take our temporary wives?
Yeah, hijab probably will not agree to do da'wah in any area where there's not a hotel where he can bang his mutawais.
Are you sick in the mind? Why is there no hotel here? I was told there was a hotel.
Here, check this out. We've got Tommy Hall getting my lot in Dizzletown. Thank you. We have make sure my lot comes with a Bugatti. Yes, you will get an imaginary Bugatti with your imaginary lot in my imaginary town. I'm sending for my plot of lands. Yes, you will. We'll take all the ex-Muslims. AP should create New Constantinople. There you go.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Then we'll have Dizzletown and New Constantinople. Hey, we should do that. If they actually ever build like Epic City, we should make New Constantinople like right beside it. I don't care what it costs. We're buying it. And then we're gonna have Dizzletown on the other side.
That's a good idea. Let's do it.
Let's see. D Wood, exhilarating proposition. Will you be expanding the Dizzletown in the near future to make it more based? Well, it's already starting out extremely based, but yeah, it can do nothing but grow. Do the bathrooms in Dizzletown include stones? No, we use actual running water, and we get awesome water and a great waste treatment plant. So, on the other side of that fence, there's Epic City, where they have no way of dealing with this stuff. Everyone's gonna want to leave Epic City. Matter of fact, that's what you should do, Thaddeus. Look, here's how it works. They start Epic City. You build a better place right beside it. And then when people get sick of not being able to flush their toilets or of having to drink their own wastewater and stuff like this, then when they get sick of this stuff, it's like, hey, we've got these houses over here, only we mark our houses way up. You know what I mean? We mark them way up. And then so everyone leaves Epic City. It becomes all the properties are basically worthless because no one wants to live there. They all move into Dizzletown. Then I buy Epic City, level the place, and build it correctly, and then we have Dizzletown 2.0.
Or we turn Dizzletown 2.0 into New Constantinople.
That's true.
There's one thing though that
is it going to be a huge trailer park? That's the real question.
There will be, of course, there's going to be a huge trailer park. Anything.
Or there's going to be one. That's what I'm asking if the whole thing was going to be a trailer park.
It will probably be half trailer park.
There we go.
For those asking about the toilets, in New Constantinople, I will make sure that every single toilet will have an even number of stones.
Nice.
Not an odd number. It's going to be an even number.
So it's the opposite. It's the opposite of.
Well, you should use
Epic City and their odd numbers.
Bones instead, and really upset him. Muhammad got really sensitive about people using bones because bones are the food of the jinn. And so if you wipe your butt with a bone, you're putting poo on jinn food. And that's just really rude because some jinn are Muslim jinn. And you can't give the Muslim jinn poop. But some jinn are bad jinn. So you should make sure to eat all of your food, every drop of food that's on your plate. Because whenever you ask Allah to bless the food, the blessing will fall on some particular particle of your food. And if you don't eat it all, you could leave it behind, and then a jinn could get it. And maybe it was a naughty jinn who got Allah's blessing because you didn't clean your plate. If you think that saying and that the starving children of China is powerful, think about the Muslim mothers who could say, if you don't eat that, a naughty jinn will get your blessing.
You've been warned, everyone. Can't we just give them an Islam state in the metaverse? Yeah, you can. If everything's just going to be a fantasy town, yeah, why not do it in the metaverse? I request a tree house, and I'm bringing my parrot. A little concerned about what she's learning to say watching this show. Oh, zoot, brat. Oh, zoot, oh, zoot, brat. You got all zooted, brat. Only one zoot. That's the big business. That's the big business hikmah at work. Yeah, they got the hikmah. Yasser Qadi got the hikmah. Segregated like Al-Zut segregated Muhammad's asset. Al-Zut, a.k.a. Booty Bandits, has to be selling the freak-off bundle packs, Rhino pill included at the local stores. Yeah, there should be an Al-Zut energy drink. It'll keep you going. It'll keep you going all night long. Who needs water when you have 3 stones? That is correct. You guys keep attacking them for not having running water and not. Yeah, you don't need that. I thought wastewater treatment plant was related to what would Jesus do. Also, Burj Khalifa doesn't handle its own sewage either. They truck it out.
Yeah, it's connected now, but they did truck it out for a long time.
Can I build a statue to Ezra, peace be upon him, in Dizzletown? Yes, Ezra. Yeah, Jews are welcome in Dizzletown, so we'll have to have a big temple for Ezra. Buy 9 spatulas, get the 10th spatula. No, I think it was buy 9 spatulas, get the 10th spatula for just 1 penny. I think that's what the deal was. And then the other thing I remember was a guy, I forget what his name was, Cy Greengloom or something like that. Hello, my name is Cy Greengloom, president of Spatula City. I like the company so much. No, I like the spatulas so much, I bought the company. Classic. You guys don't know what you're missing. Based on my experience, Muslims don't really like living next door to other Muslims, don't really like living next door to other... Why'd you say it twice? Don't really like living next door to other Muslims. Muslims don't really like living next door to to other Muslims. That's false. All Muslims only love fellow Muslims. That's why when they leave a Muslim country, they go to another Muslim country. Just wondering what Thaddeus thinks about YouTube stealing his point system. Hey, I did notice that. I was like, this whole point system, that was on Thaddeus's channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a Twitch thing. YouTube's obviously copying Twitch, but I had brought it to YouTube through my own coding, and now YouTube's copying me, and I think they've been watching too much of my content. But hey, I haven't got any strikes or anything, so maybe like lots of Muslims are reporting it, and YouTube's watching and like, oh, this is great. He has a points thing. Let's steal that.
Makes sense.
Hey, check this out. So we have Dark Shepherd here saying, instead of water, use the 3 seashell method. Who knows what that's from? Have you guys ever seen anything in your entire lives? You never saw Demolition Man? It's funny because it seems like Epic City's going to need a Demolition Man to fix their stuff. Yep, they had to wipe with 3. They had a 3 seashells method. Are there going to be a Constantine Street? Is there going to be Constantine Street, AP?
Yes.
Obviously.
And will there be a Council of Nicaea Street Avenue?
Yes. Yes.
So YouTube stole Thaddeus's point system. Then we have Chad Winger, the ultimate Dawa destroyer. Tear down Dizzletown. Turn it into Chad Winger. Turn it into Chad Winger City. No one's going to want to live there, except a bunch of dorks. It'll be a popular site for Star Trek conventions because everyone will already be there. Epic Constantinople. Epic Constantinople will be funny. Yeah. Don't call it New Constantinople. Just call it Epic Constantinople. Ali Dawa should sell the Al-Zut pills. Yeah. We need to make a commercial. Do you need what? You want Ali Dawa's new and improved Viagra? We've got it.
That's
it's called the Al-Zut pill.
We could record a video about that when you're here.
Yeah, we can.
Prophet of Alexander the Great Town Hall.
Oh yes, I was thinking about that too.
AP, you remember? I saw the clip. I saw the clip of Leon from Curb Your Enthusiasm when he said he was gonna, those pills they be selling. He goes, I'm gonna put them in an energy drink. He goes, I'm gonna call it tap water. This is.
I remember.
This is Al-Zut water will be more popular though. I mean, they got to keep up with their child brides, their secret second, third wives, their hotel wives. They got to keep up with all that stuff. And so, my goodness, no wonder Ali Dawa is selling a Viagra to all his fans. And here we have, now I understand why Gaza never built their own water facilities and had to use Israel's. Yeah, we don't need water. We don't need it. What do we need that for? All right, guys.
That's what the dimmies are for, right? The dimmies are there to give them
The
water and
dummies
power and
are
everything.
dummies. Yep.
All right, have we
I think
covered everything with
cities-
Epic City?
Yeah, well, okay. So to summarize the question earlier, as what has happened was kind of good there. That so there was the funeral thing. So the Attorney General was asked to investigate for legal violations, and he found the funeral thing going on.
Hold on, hang on.
They also
So that was literally just in response to like people catching on. Wait a minute, and getting suspicious. Hey, what are these guys doing? Why don't we look into things? So this actually screwed up things. Like they wouldn't have been if they hadn't become a social media sensation. Thanks to Yasser Qadi's little commercial there, they wouldn't have gotten in trouble over this.
Yep, that's correct. They released a press release saying, "Oh, our poor dead people won't be able to be buried anymore because all this Islamophobia or something." It's like, get a permit and you can have do funerals.
Just toss them in a well and then use the water for your ablutions. Muhammad did. Muhammad had no problem.
So that was the result of Attorney General Ken Paxton investigating. The Securities Board, the Texas Security Board, has issued some complaints about not following consumer protection laws, not properly disclosing the risk involved with investing in the project. And then towards the end there, I can't remember the exact name of it, but the Texas Environmental Commission, basically, they stated that, Epic hasn't filed for a permit. They haven't, moved forward and getting water. And if they want to, they need to do that. I looked at their webpage. It tells you like exactly the steps you need to go to fill it out. So they're not technically in legal trouble because obviously just buying a plot of land and not doing anything with it isn't illegal. And they haven't tried to move forward. So they're not like in legal trouble there, but it made it quite clear to them, if it wasn't already clear, that they're not going to be able to just like move forward without like going through the proper legal channels and whatnot. They said that it would take 2.5 to 3 years to develop the land after they took ownership of the land. It's been since September they took it over. In June is when they actually projected to take it over. So we're literally a year into this project, and they haven't even lifted a finger. Right? They haven't done anything as far as what is necessary.
They lifted this finger. Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, to actually move forward, they haven't really done anything. The governor said that he ordered them to stop, but they haven't actually started, so that was kind of meaningless. But one thing that isn't in the video that was a very recent development, about maybe 2 weeks ago, they're now under federal investigation as well. So Senator John Cornyn from Texas opened a federal investigation into Epic. So lots of consequences have come out of this.
And now they understand the meaning of "don't mess with Texas." They tried to mess with Texas.
This is good.
They heard it. They heard it all their lives in the commercials. Don't mess with Texas. And they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to mess with Texas. Let's do it.
Because Allah is on our side, He will allow us to mess with Texas. The kuffar of Texas can do nothing before the power of Allah. Hey, wait a minute. Wait, we didn't. It was a joke. Wait a minute. It was just a prank.
Any other thoughts on Epic City, Mary?
It's just such a ridiculous boondoggle. Like, so little planning, and the fact that they were taking people's money, and they were taking people were giving them money based on their trusted status. Like, oh, we are all Muslims. You can trust us. We are the reliable leaders of this mosque. Give us money. Like, that is one of the sleaziest things that you can do. Is
to be honest,
ask people for money based on your. There's some term for it, but a position of trust within a society and your identity and things like that, and fleece them, even though they weren't initially planning on fleecing them. Almost certainly, because it would blow up in their faces and be absolutely disastrous, and they'd have to be very, very stupid to do that. But even though they weren't planning on doing that, just the recklessness and the carelessness. But then again, if you weren't a person who doesn't research, and if you weren't a person who isn't reckless with things, would you be a Muslim still? If you were a careful person who carefully analyzed and carefully prepared, would you be a Muslim? So maybe that ties into the fact that all of these Islamic countries always hire foreigners to design and plan out all of their spectacular buildings. Maybe it ties into the mentality that they are expected to have. You need to think this way to stay a Muslim. You got to stay a Muslim, so you got to think this way. And then there's outfalls, because I really don't think that they were planning on scamming them to begin with. But then you get the whole face thing and the pride thing and everything else that caused them, even after they knew it was going to blow up in their faces, they didn't go, whoa, step back. We can sell this land for about what we bought it for, and we'll just step away and refund almost everything. No, they had to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, because they can't admit that they were wrong, and they can't show weakness, and they can't show doubts.
They will be able to blame Islamophobes, though, because that's what you would always do in this situation. The Islamophobes,
That's what they will
Islamophobes
Yep.
rain down upon us, and so on. And so it's their fault, not ours, for being stupid. I did have to point out, you suggesting that the sloppiness and the lack of critical thinking about this is connected to their identity and the way they're raised. But what you haven't considered is maybe they're so careful in matters of religion and critical thinking about that they just don't have time for, thinking about how to set up a city and stuff like that. So could actually go in the complete opposite direction, Mary.
Yeah, that's how it works.
So in your face on behalf of Dawa clowns everywhere.
Well, I would say that even Muslims should consider that you can trust us. We are Muslims is a pretty bad selling point.
What's funny is like some people just found that out the hard way. And here's what's messed up. I mean, I'm sure there were plenty of people who are like, they're like businessmen, wealthy. They've got piles of money. Yeah, I'll kick in 80,000. Matter of fact, I'll buy a couple lots and stuff because I'm going to build myself a really big spot. But I'm sure there were also people that was a big sacrifice for. Like, hey, this is everything we've got, and we're going to take out a loan to reserve our spot and stuff like this. And that's it's kind of creepy, messed up.
Yeah, even if you have a net worth of $1 million, if you're older, then that just might be your retirement that you plan to last 20 years.
What do you think? Hey,
right?
I can retire in an Islamic city. I can retire and be in an Islamic city. That's like paradise.
Hey, trust us, we are thieves. Trust
taking a chunk out of their they're taking a chunk out of their
Trust
retirement.
us. Trust us. We all follow a caravan robber. That means you can trust us.
Trust us, we all believe in rape. Come on.
We worship a guy who robbed caravans for a living. What else?
See?
That means you can trust us.
Who else are you going to trust except the caravan raiders? Are you stupid?
Dizzleville, can I have a triangle lot and a square lot? Oh, yeah, that's funny. I'm actually making right after we're done, I'm making a video about that. The epic. I was going to do it. I just didn't finish it. But yeah, so I'm about to record now. Didn't finish going through all the clips and getting everything ready and stuff last night, but now I think I've got I think I found all the clips I want, so I'm going to record a video. But yeah, that's one of the most epic moments in the history of the downfall of Dawa was the triangle and square brought by Ali Dawa. Al-Zut pills, Diddy line sold separately. Got to have the Al-Zut pills. They got a plot of land and didn't do anything with it. Israel, yeah, we've seen this movie before. hey, that's what should happen. Look, Netanyahu should post a video. It turns out they tried to build a little Sharia city, something like Little Gaza, right there in Texas. They failed, but guess what? We're going to step in. We're going to build it for you, and you guys can just build the tunnels underneath. Anyway. That'd be nice. That'd be a nice thing to do. We'll take care of the water. It's what we do. Al-Zut nix gut. Mohammed. Oh, hi, David.
You mean nix? What's funny? You kind of nailed the cadence of Netanyahu's speech as you just imitated him. Not sure how you did that.
Well, it's funny because I was as soon as I started doing it, I was like, it sounds kind of like a Native American to me, right? And then I started thinking about the Native American with the tear from the commercial and stuff like that. But he didn't say anything. Anyway, that's like my stupid brain.
The Italian Native American, which is the best. I don't know why that makes me so amused, but it does.
AP, what do you think of Al-Zut nix gut? What's nix?
That's very, very good.
What's nix?
It's a
Shortened version of nichts.
Yeah, it's a way of saying nichts among colloquial.
Okay, nichts gut. All right.
Yeah.
It is good because people try to combine al zut with but they sound different, right? It's zut and but the German gut is actually a little closer to zut.
Yeah. Very much closer. Yeah.
Very much closer. So guys, we need German phrases about al zut. Does Minneapolis still do the call to prayer? I mean, probably. I don't see anything to stop that.
Well, I mean, the city obviously doesn't do it, but I'm sure mosques in Minneapolis do it.
Yeah, because it was a story that they started doing that a little while back. Buy our Gatorade-infused Zam water. Get a White Monster, chewed gum, and 2.5 Blue Chews free. Dizzlefill land of the based.
Nice.
They should get Donald Trump to help. Yeah, he can help. Don't worry, I'm going to step in. Going to take it over. Going to take over Epic City. Make it Epic Trump City. It's going to be the best city in the world.
So something's really funny about Zam water is that everybody thinks that it's like what it is now, that it tastes the same. But now, of course, it's almost entirely desalinated water pumped in from Jeddah, from near Jeddah. They pump it through the mountains, desalinate everything, and pump it down into the ground, and then magically, oh, look, it's coming from the well. It's this water we have just pumped down 5 minutes ago. And then they threw perfume in it, right, to make it smell slightly special and stuff. But originally, it was so incredibly nasty that during the pagan era, people would drink it by soaking like dried dates and dried raisins. Of course, raisins are dried. Anyway, raisins in it and let it ferment a little bit, and then they'd have it that way. Because for a long time, people think that water that tastes really acrid and very weird and pungent has healing properties. People have always thought that for some odd reason. And then at the time, like the third governor of Mecca during the Islamic age called it the mother of black beetles and set up a bunch of water to run off from other areas down into the well to make it taste less nasty. And it made the Meccans so mad because they liked their nasty water that he had to stop. But at some point when they got more people coming, they snuck in underground ones a long time before the modern era. So people were already not knowing that it should taste like a disgusting squashed bitter bug. And so now it's all perfume and wonderful. And isn't this the true healing water because of its perfumed wonderfulness? When the Muslim mayor's tastes like the mother of black beetles. We need to bring some more water in here so it isn't so nasty.
Wow.
Sounds good.
Wow. There was a question that I wanted to address from Brady there in the audience about was it restricted to Muslims to buy property? And the answer is technically no. There was nothing in the documents that said you must agree to.
But
do
they
Islamic
said they're going to
practices.
review every person who's buying a lot.
Yeah.
Right? So we kind of know what that means, right?
Well, for financial reasons, I don't think the questionnaire had anything. But here's the thing: it was announced in the mosque. It was promoted on the mosque's website, and that was the only way to find out about it. And they sold all of the lots within 24 hours. Maybe some of them didn't actually go through, and they sold some of them later, but they said they had at least commitments for all of them on the first day. And remember, there's 30% of your money goes to pay for building a mosque. So what person who isn't a Muslim would be interested, right? Regardless of how they promoted it, who would be interested? So they didn't put a requirement to be a Muslim because that would be illegal. That would be a violation of fair housing laws. But they made it so that only Muslims would sign up, right? They intended this to be a Muslim-only city. They just don't say those words because saying those words would be illegal.
They should call it only Muslims.
Only Muslims, Phil. Igor has a question for you, Mary.
I do have a channel, but I barely post to it. It's Too Many Marys. But I mostly stream with Thaddeus on Reason Answers, and you will find me there typically at least once a week. and we'll be going back to streaming topics that I actually research soon, or screaming topics I actually research. Sometimes I scream with laughter. Some of this is so completely insane. Like most of what I've talked about here, when I discovered it the first time, I lost it.
And we'll definitely be having Mary come back pretty soon, because we want to discuss the extremely important issue of whether Muhammad was abused as a child and how this could possibly be connected to other things later in life. His relationship with Dihya al-Kalbi, his interactions with the men of Al-Zut, all of this fun stuff. We'll see if it all ties together into Muhammad's possibly traumatic childhood experiences with the dudes who were banging him. Anyway, so we'll be covering that in the near future. Guys, I got a link to Thaddeus's video in the description, so you can share that. Again, Mary and Thaddeus do shows together over on Thaddeus's channel. I'll be with AP tomorrow and then for several days after, so we'll be recording some videos and doing some live streams, and I should have a video up before I take off tomorrow about God Logic destroying Ali Dawah mercilessly, like he was beating a poor baby seal.
Ali Dawah.
Ali Dawah. All right, catch you later, and just remember, Dizzletown. Dizzletown. Don't forget it. Don't forget it. You saw it on paper, and that's all that matters.
And New Constantinople.
That one too. But we haven't seen a picture, so we don't know if it's real.
You just think.